Thinking your skills alone are going to make you successful in the remodeling industry? That's exactly why most contractors crash and burn. Today, we're going to talk about what really matters.
Hello, this is the HackHour Podcast, a show where it's all about helping real, everyday, hardworking remodelers learn the secrets to having it all in life and business. And now, here's your host, Mike Minges.
Welcome to the HackHour Podcast. This is where we break down the business of remodeling and building your dreams in an amazing career one step at a time. I'm Mike Minges. I'm the founder of the Remodeling Academy. And today we're tackling something that I get asked quite frequently. How can I start a remodeling business from scratch and have it be successful? See, the failure rate is tremendously high, and it does not need to be. If you're sitting there and you're wondering, how do I go from not having a remodeling business to being able to run a profitable remodeling business, stick around. I'm going to show you that the concept is very simple to have, right? But it's more complicated to implement. And that's where people struggle. They just don't have the discipline. As long as you have the discipline to implement, you will be successful in this industry. And I'll break it down for you. Make it very easy. So whether you're swinging the hammer, whether you like to sketch out designs, this is the blueprint that you need to be successful in this industry. So first, let's talk about why these concepts are important. See, starting a remodeling business is more than just hanging your name on a sign, having a website, starting a new Instagram page. Having a remodeling business, it is about a sense of freedom, right? You are creating a life where you get to be in control of your time, your income, and the impact that you're having on your community. You get to have this company be as big and powerful as you want it to be, or it can be as small as you want it to be. Here's the deal. Most people, unfortunately, just get started off on the wrong foot. And some of that is because they might go work for someone else who isn't doing a good job, and they think, well, this is kind of how I should do it because that's how this person's doing it, right? And when you're taught poorly, then you end up executing poorly. And often also people just will start jumping into a project in this industry without really having a good plan. They'll undercharge because they underestimate, they don't understand their numbers, they rely on word of mouth in the beginning and it just seems easy, right? Because everyone has a friend that needs something done, and when you're new, you're a little naive and you'll jump right into that project. You didn't charge enough. You see where this is going. Okay. So then what ends up happening is you end up burning out quickly, because you realize that without a plan and a game plan, it's exhausting, right? You lose money, and then you end up quitting before you ever really put a proper foundation beneath you to have success in the first place. So I don't want any of that for you. And that's why I've broken this process out into 4 distinct pillars. You want to plan, you want to protect, you want to get paid, and you want to promote, right? Look, these aren't just steps. These are, think of it as 4 foundational aspects for growing a sustainable remodeling business. I want to start off with a little bit of a personal story here. When I first opened my doors, I focused on something that I happened to know well at the time. It was remodeling older homes. I had spent several years doing investment properties. I was buying old houses, gutting them, rehabbing them, right? We were flipping them, keeping some for rentals. Most of the homes I had worked on were between 50 to 100 years old. And these older style homes, these types of projects, they weren't for the faint of heart. Quickly, I had to get very well versed in structural repairs. I had to understand kitchens and bathrooms and basements, right? You had to learn decks, patios, roofing, siding, windows, painting, carpentry, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. you learn it all in a very quick period of time. And I love that. I thrive on being like in the thick of it. Okay. And I enjoyed taking these older homes and putting new technology into them, new building things that we've learned, and allowing people to get many years of enjoyment out of something that's new. So in just over a year, I had really built a solid portfolio. I had more than 10 fully remodeled kitchens, right? Over 20 some bathrooms. I had done 8 basements and a handful of other big projects. So when I started my remodeling business, I had a book, a business that I could show people. This is experience, right? It gave me the confidence. So when I walked into someone's house, I was pretty confident that I'd be able to take on most anything. Now, here's the thing. I didn't want to stop there. I knew I wanted to grow, and I had my set sight on other things too. One area that initially I lacked in was building additions. It was something that we didn't do a lot of in the rehab business, and it took me about another year before we finally got the wheels going and we could very easily land like addition projects. I remember when I first landed the first one, that's what, once we finished that first edition, and again, I put together a nice portfolio. We had all the before and afters. It was so much easier to land the future edition projects. And I want you guys to understand that this is how it goes for a lot of people. So what I recommend is start off with something that you're familiar with, right? Because once you have the confidence, it's so much easier to go out to sell, manage, and deliver, because these are things you've already done. So it's very simple for you to do them again. And that's what helped us land more and more projects over time. And also, what it was it was easy for us to convey confidence because we could show and demonstrate to our clients that we understood what we were doing because we've done it before. We have a history, right? So the lesson really is, don't be afraid to lean into what you're good at to get you started. Build momentum with what you know, but don't let that limit you. You can still start stretching yourself and go after some new things if you know that's the direction you want to go. And as you build that foundation, you will very easily expand into the new areas. You'll take on the bigger challenges, right? And all of this grows, your confidence grows, your business grows. So let's break all this down. What does each pillar look like in action? So first, you got to come up with a plan, right? What services specifically are you going to offer? Are you going to be a kitchen remodeler? Do you want to do bath renovations or whole home makeovers? Are you just going to be maybe doing accent walls, or are you just going to be putting in patios or outdoor kitchens, right? You want to pick the one thing that is your specialty. It's what I would say is like your sweet spot, right? And this is why, because when you pick the one area, it's going to be very easy for you to replicate it, to be profitable, and to understand what the market wants and needs. And you'll understand the numbers because you're very well versed in this discipline, right? You'll understand how much you need to earn because you understand how long it's going to take you to complete the project. And when you forecast out over the course of a year, it's easy to now reverse engineer that so you understand what you need to be charging for markup and profit, okay? Second, you're going to want to make sure you're protected. In the remodeling industry, liability becomes huge, and you need to make sure that you have some simple things in place. You want to make sure there's some sort of a business structure, all right? Whether that's something like an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp. There's various reasons why you would want one over the other. And the other thing you want to make sure is you have good liability insurance, okay? These are just some couple things, because when you're working for friends, people are much more forgiving, but it only is going to take that one project. And it's not if something goes wrong, it's just a matter of when something goes wrong. And that's why you get insurance, and that's why you set up a structure so that you don't lose everything because of one mishap or one mistake or one accident, right? Because many of you are just like one lawsuit or one accident away from basically having everything you've worked hard for being destroyed. So we don't want that to happen to you. So make sure you set up some basics. All right, third, let's talk about getting paid. For the most part, you got into this industry not to be a charity, right? You wanted a business. You wanted a way to provide a nice living for yourself. It's the reason why many of you go get a job. You get a job because you want to make money. You start a business because you want to make money. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. So let's talk about money. You're going to want to open up a business bank account. And business bank accounts and things, getting financing, all get much easier when you have your company, like an LLC or S Corp, established for more than a year or two. So you should do all of this immediately. The faster you do it, the quicker you get the history, and it makes things down the road easier as you want to grow your business. It's going to take a few years to really get things going. Don't wait. Do it now. All right. So we're going to open up that business bank account, and we want to start making sure that we're separating our finances, okay? This is build for the business that you want to have, not for the business that you currently have, all right? So don't fall into the trap. Just say, no, I'm building the business for the future, so I'm going to get that business bank account. I'm going to put some money in there, and that's the money I'm going to use for the business, and then I'll pay myself, trying to stay away from mixing things up between business and personal. Because as the business grows, this becomes more important. All right. Fourth thing you want to do is you want to promote yourself, right? And when I say promote, I mean promote like crazy. You hear this over and over again in the industry, and man, somebody like me, it's just silly. The amount of guys that want to beat their chest, go, I get all my work from referrals. They walk around like it's a badge of honor, right? And don't get me wrong. There is a lot of validity to being a good business that does get a lot of referrals. But if you brag to me all the time that you only get business from referrals, it lets me know that you just don't understand marketing and that you truly don't know how to run a business, right? That's great that you have everything from referrals. So what if you want to try to get into a new market? What if all the people that are referring you, they're not the best type of projects, right? So explain to me, how are you going to run this business? How are you going to grow it in the next community? How are you going to expand? Referrals is an important part of business, but it's not the only part of business. You want to have the confidence to know that, hey, I understand what a marketing campaign is. I know that I can come up with a concept, say, hey, this summer we want to sell X amount of this type of project. And to do that, here's the campaign that we're going to come up with. We're going to do X amount of flyers. We're going to do this. We're going to do some of that. This is what the website's going to look like. This is what our funnel is going to look like. These are what the door hangers look like. These are what our job signs look like. And all of that together is going to work in cohesiveness so that we can bring on all these new jobs. And that's how we're guaranteed to grow this year, right? Social media is good. Social media is one aspect of marketing. It's not the only thing. You have to understand how about networking within a community, right? And if you are able to be successful in your local community, one way to grow is to then branch out and go to the next community and this community and that community. So again, referrals, they're awesome. And yes, they're important, but they are not going to be the only way that you promote your business. Okay, so let's make all this actionable, right? Here's how you can implement each of these pillars starting today. First, plan. Let's grab a notebook. Write down what services specifically do you want to offer. Ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing? What am I really good at? What do I see as being in demand in my area, right? If you happen to live on a coastal town, maybe you offer this type of project. If you happen to live in the city, maybe you do this, right? You have to look at your area and say, what would work really well where I am, all right? Next, you have to calculate your monthly income, and then you multiply this by 12 so that you understand what your annual goal is. And then you can figure out how many jobs that you need to hit each month over the course of a year in order to get the desired income that you want. Now, look, you have to be realistic, but also I would aim a little high, call it like a stretch goal. All right. How do you protect your business? Again, you're going to have to research some local insurance providers, get a couple quotes for liability insurance, go to your state business website, right? Make sure you're filed, either the LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp. You should talk to an accountant and make sure you're set up for all this varies, but the thing is, do it today. Just get started. Okay. Now, how do you get paid? This is where you need to go to a local community bank, if no one else, and make sure you're opening up both a checking and a savings account, okay? Also, how are you going to be maintaining your finances? Some of you can do on a spreadsheet. Others of you are going to need some software, all right? You might want to look into hiring a bookkeeper. Usually there's people that you can find where you can just bring them copies of receipts every week, and they will help you take care of your books. It's much better to do this than try to wait till the end of the year. Trust me. You can ask me how I know. All right. Also, credit cards. You want to get set up and take credit cards as quick as possible. This is why you need a business account, why you want a business checking and business savings account, so that when people purchase with their credit card, you have a way of collecting those funds quickly and easily, and it's separated from you as an individual. All right. Now, promotion. So you're going to want to set up social media right now. Like, let's get your Facebook business account, your Instagram business account, right? Let's make sure you have a website for your business. And then you're going to want to probably get set up in Canva and start coming up with some advertising. You're going to need some sort of a flyer. You'll want some sort of a door hanger. You're going to need a yard sign. These are all things that can be done quickly and easily once you get your logo and branding. You also start looking for a local networking group. Figure out what community events that you can start attending so that more and more people see that you're active in the community, and it's a way to meet potential clients. You want to expand your reach. Remember, being a business owner does not mean that you spend all your time in the field swinging the hammer, painting the wall. You can have some of your time doing the work, but a portion of your time needs to be out building the business. So start with one or two small actions in each of these areas and build on them. Okay, you don't have to do everything at once, but you just have to get started. Now, you might be thinking, hey, what if maybe I'm not ready for all this? What if I fail? Let me tell you this. Look, nobody ever feels 100% ready when they start a business. And in fact, the more that you know about challenges and risk, and the less likely sometimes you are to start a business. The important thing is to know that once I start, I'm not going to stop. Understand that, yes, there's going to be tough days. Yes, things aren't going to go as you expected. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. It's supposed to be. That lets you know that you're doing it the right way. Don't go into this thinking that it's like this cookie cutter world. Look, some of you grew up in an unrealistic world. You had parents that helped you attain everything you ever wanted, right? And you always got a trophy and you always were on the winning team. That's not the reality. When you go out into the business world and you want to start doing it, it takes some challenges. And in fact, I would tell you, you want to not always be successful, because that's going to help you figure out better ways to do things. You're going to recognize, oh, I thought I knew what I was doing, and actually the way I was going about this wasn't the best, and that's why I've been struggling. And the way that you learn to grow and become better and stronger is through failure. So when you are experiencing struggle in business, recognize, perfect, I am going the correct way. And a struggle, a challenge, that is all part of the process. So look, the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is really the willingness of those that take the first step, and then they just keep taking step after step after step, even when it's hard, even when they've been knocked backwards, right? They just get back up and they just go one more step at a time. So you might say, but I don't have any clients. Like, well, then you get to start promoting. Some of you might say, well, what if I don't know how much to charge? Well, you can start by looking at some of your costs and then use a resource like maybe getting a markup calculator to adjust as you go, right? These are some simple things that you can do. The only real failure in this whole process is just waiting. The longer that you wait to get started, the worse it gets. Start now. Just go. Get the first job. Make it happen. Things will start happening and falling into place. Okay, so there you have it. These are the 4 pillars to starting a remodeling business from scratch. Plan, protect, get paid, and promote. And yes, there's a lot of extra things that you put in place as you're growing, but at its core, these are the things that we all are doing every day, regardless of the size of our business. So if you take these steps seriously and you put them into action, you're already going to be ahead of probably 90% of the people who jump in without a clue. This is a challenging industry, but it is also a rewarding industry. And yes, half of the people that start a remodeling business are going to fail within the first few years. However, half are going to make it. What are you doing to make sure that you're on the half that are going to at least get through the first 3 years? Okay. Does the failure rate keep on getting higher? Sure does. That's because you have to be recognize that you don't want to be your own worst enemy as the business grows. So the more that you're open to learning and trying new things, the more likely that you will be in having a successful business. If you found this episode helpful and encouraging, do me a favor, subscribe, like us, go on, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this with someone else, leave us a review, make a comment, do something. Let us know that you appreciate it. And if you've ever got questions or you want more information, come on over to the remodelingacademy.com. If you haven't already signed up, you should sign up for our 5-day challenge. We're the only one in the industry that offers that. You should check out the Remodeling Academy. Again, we're the only one in the industry that offers a program where you can basically have everything that you need to run a successful remodeling business. We have it. It's here. All you have to do is come on over and sign up. So thank you for listening to the HackHour Podcast. Go out there, get started, create the business that you know you've wanted. Understand that it is possible. You can do it, and we're cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to the HackHour Podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave us a quick review on iTunes. To further your remodeling success, go to remodelingriches.com.